Hello, and welcome back once again to the HR Social Hour Half Hour Podcast. This is episode 17. John and Wendy talk to Mary Williams. I'm your host, John.
And I'm Wendy. How are you, John?
I am well. I need to start the show by saying thank you to a lot of people. Never really talked about it on the show, just timing-wise, or thought about it, but had the opportunity today, as a matter of fact, to do a presentation with CareerArc, who's one of my vendors at work, social recruiting and outplacement work, and they're just awesome. They're great people. I love the technology, and they asked me to do a webinar with them, and so I did a social recruiting 101 conversation today, and Wendy, you were kind enough to make part of it, and several people that are part of the Social Hour, previous guests, fans of the show, others came. I'm not going to try to name everybody because I will miss someone, and I don't want to do that, but I do want to sincerely say thank you. I had a great time. The feedback I've gotten was extremely positive. CareerArc was very happy. I will probably be doing some more work with them, which I'm super psyched about. It's been really, really good. How about yourself?
Yeah. It's been a little bit crazy. We're coming on the end of the month, and my husband and I kind of forgot we had several nieces graduating this year. So we actually have to go to some graduation parties this weekend, which kind of looking forward to. Haven't done that in a while. Some sheet cake and ham sandwiches, right?
Is that what it is out there? I don't know. I haven't been to a graduation party in years. I know I'm going to have to start that round soon enough. Well,
yeah.
Enough talk about that. I'm sure we will talk about it more down the road. But
yeah.
Super excited for our guest tonight and don't want to keep her waiting any further. Wendy, I'll let you make the introduction and we'll get started.
Wonderful. So we are pleased to welcome Mary Williams to the show tonight. She is the Vice President of Operations and Human Resources with ClearSounds Communications and Clear Digital Media. She is an HR department of one, dedicated to developing and implementing well-organized processes, policies, and procedures. She has extensive experience with high-tech entrepreneurial startup companies and creating structure within an organization. Her role at the companies covers both operations and human resources, and as part of the executive management team, she's involved in developing and communicating cooperative goals within the organization and measures and manages alignment of goals to corporate objectives. She is the glue that keeps the company together and running smoothly. She has a bachelor's degree in both political science and French from Eastern Illinois University and holds her senior professional HR certification from HRCI. She is the registration coordinator on the board of the DuPage SHRM local chapter, as well as being an active member with National SHRM. And we are so excited that she is going to be a part of the blogging team for SHRM 18. And we are excited to meet you in person in June. Welcome to the podcast, Mary. And our first question is, what's in your glass?
Well, first off, I want to say thank you. Thank you to both of you for inviting me. This is just a real thrill to participate. I remember the inaugural HR Social Hour, and
wow.
This is just a real treat. I have a big, tall glass of really cold water, and I know that's a little bit boring and not so social hour-ish, but that's what I'm drinking today.
There's nothing wrong with that.
In.
You've got to be hydrated, and
it's true.
We totally understand. First off, Mary, really appreciate you saying that. It's become a blur. You know, we've been doing this for just long enough that it's hard to remember who did what, but really appreciate you saying you were there from the beginning. And, you know, I'm curious, how did you decide to pursue your career in HR?
Well, I'm one of those people that HR found me. I didn't go seeking it out. Early on, I ended up in a series of just entrepreneurial startup companies where one of them I was the fourth employee hired. And
wow.
Yes, and that was a trip. That was a really wonderful experience. Seemed to be finding myself in these situations, and it just kind of grew and developed from there where I saw the need and I filled it.
Awesome. Love it. What's your favorite component of your work? What keeps you excited about being in HR?
Oh, there's so many things. I feel like I'm really blessed and I'm doing what I love and loving what I do. And as you mentioned in the intro, I am an HR department of one. And so one of the unique things about that is I have the privilege of being part of the entire employee life cycle. Even just from developing that job description with the management team and finding out what we need, I get to be part of all of that employee's life cycle all the way through. So it's really fulfilling for me to be able to witness and be an integral part of that employee, or all the employees really, their growth during their tenure. My favorite thing is to be able to hold the spotlight and shine it on them when they are successful in their different growth. And just one of the things I try to do is strive to set others up for success. And I get a real thrill when I can hold that spotlight on them and just applaud and tell them what a great job they did, and I knew they could do it all along.
You mentioned the Department of One, and I'm curious, Mary, what advice would you give, or have you given someone that's moving into a similar position when they haven't done that before, when they haven't been a Department of One? What would your advice be, or what do you tell someone that's going into that type of role?
I feel like some of the best advice is to really network and connect and follow some other HR pros, especially if you are building an HR function that didn't exist before. There's just a lot of benefit from networking and joining roundtables. I'm a member of an executive roundtable that meets every other month, and then a Department of One roundtable that meets on alternating every other month. We're moving from quarterly to more frequency because we've had really great response, and those roundtables give us the opportunity to discuss what issues we're facing and just openly share, because ultimately someone else in the room has encountered something similar, or we can just brainstorm and help one another with those solutions. And that's one of the things that's harder as a Department of One, is not having those teammates to bounce things off of. So that networking is super important, to be able to have a group that you can rely on. Some people have mastermind groups that they join, and that can be really helpful. And then I'm also an active member of my local SHRM chapter, so we have meetings every other month also, and that's another great way to build my network and just have people that I could call upon if I have a need, because as you know, there's a lot to do. Sometimes it's not possible to do it all on your own, and that's definitely one of the things to advise someone who's starting out that way, is you don't have to do it all on your own.
I'm curious, I'm going to ask a follow-up question, or kind of tied to it. With being the Department of One, also being the operations person, how does that work? You know, you said it sought you out and you had these great opportunities to learn and get involved at the ground up. How does that other piece of your job, how does that tie into the bigger picture?
I feel like it's a really great tie-in for me and for my current organization, because as being part of the executive management team, I'm able to be a part of those strategy discussions and the brainstorming and the planning from the beginning when it's first brought up. And then the business acumen required for that operations background is really helpful in human resources, to be able to understand the business and know business in general, how business works, has been really a great plus for me.
So you do some writing on LinkedIn. How has your response been there? And have you considered starting a traditional blog, or you think you're just going to stick to LinkedIn?
Well, that is a really good question, and something I hadn't thought a lot about. I'm not sure if you're in that HR book club where we read the Shonda Rhimes book, Year of Yes.
Yes, I did.
Okay. So we're supposed to say yes to those things that terrify us, I guess. And so I said yes, and it's been a blast. I've had an overwhelmingly positive response. It's been a humbling experience. You know, it just started with Mary Kaler's invite to join the blogger team and start sharing from a Department of One perspective. And I have met so many wonderful speakers and thought leaders and just had a great time interviewing them and getting to know them and planning for SHRM 18, which it's going to be my first SHRM conference, so I'm really excited to attend that as well. But as far as a blog, I hadn't considered it, so I guess I'll say maybe.
So you truly went all in. You went from never attending at all to writing a bit and joining the squad.
That's awesome.
Kudos to you. That is truly all in.
It feels like a go big or go home kind of a situation.
So we might have to give you a little extra music on the show with that, a little go big or go home. Love it. Well, Mary, now it is time for the half-hour question connection, which is, of course, everybody's favorite part of our show. So our first question is, do you remember how you connected with us?
I do. I don't know if you all remember, but it was your Not at Sherm 17. And I saw it and I started following, and that is how I totally got connected. So it began with that and then went to Next Chat and HR Tribe on Twitter. As I said earlier in our conversation, through that I saw the news of the HR social hour starting, and so I was able to participate in those. I might have missed a few, but I try to be there every month too.
We appreciate that, and it's amazing. I think you're the first person that mentioned coming or meeting us through the Not at Sherm, which doesn't seem like it was that long ago, but it's getting to be almost a year now since we really started this adventure. Mary, you talked a bit about connecting and some of the networking you're doing as a Department of One, but talk to us a little bit more about how networking is really helping your career and what's been really effective for you.
Oh, it's been so helpful, the connections that I've made through social media. I feel like social media makes it easier to get to know and grow relationships more organically through little conversations and building. And my HR Department of One connections in HR Tribe and Next Chat have been remarkable. I had a need at one point, and I barely knew anyone yet, but I reached out and sent a few direct messages, and literally everyone replied with excellent advice, and they did so in their free time over the weekend, replied so quickly. I was blown away and overwhelmed, and it just made me feel like I can't wait to be on the other end where I'm the one offering help and guidance, because I was the recipient of it and really appreciated it. So it's been wonderful, and I'd say the thing that's been most effective has been just being authentic, being genuine, and being myself. I think that helps to make better connections that are authentic and true.
How do you enjoy giving back to the HR community?
I am really excited about the different involvement that I've had with SHRM. This SHRM blogger ride has been remarkable and just so enjoyable. I've met so many great people, and I can't wait to go to the conference. I feel like that's not me giving back, it's me getting. The board of my local SHRM has been very rewarding. I am part of DuPage SHRM. Something that's happened recently is just probably through this networking and the different contacts I've made, I've had so far 2 HR new graduates reach out to me as emerging HR pros wanting to explore positions as their first job out of college and ask for advice. So I've become a mentor to them, and one of them just got her first position this week, and so she's really excited about it, and that's been really fulfilling and rewarding for me too, to kind of nurture that next wave of those emerging professionals into the HR profession.
Awesome.
That's great. It's interesting because I think wasn't it just last month the SHRM magazine was all about mentorship and mentors and mentees, and it's great to be able to give back collectively. We have so much experience that it's nice when people want to hear a little bit about it or gain some insight as they're starting out. But that's great.
Yeah, it's so true. It's not what you get, it's what you give. And
that's right.
I think that just really resonates with me and makes it just full circle.
Mary, who do you like to read or follow when it comes to gaining new HR insights?
Oh, yeah, everything. So for new HR-specific insights, I'm not sure I have anything new to say that hasn't already been stated in the first 16 episodes. A lot of us seem to follow a lot of the same thought leaders, and we're big fans of them. Some of the other business thought leaders that I follow are Simon Sinek and Cy Wakeman, and I did have the pleasure of interviewing Cy for the upcoming SHRM 18, and that was just like my total fangirl moment of, oh my goodness, I can't believe this is happening.
That's awesome.
But I follow Steve Brown, and I follow a lot of the HR Tribe hashtag and a lot of the Next Chat people, and I've been enjoying the HR Book Club because it's opening my eyes to new books that I might not might not have chosen on my own, and that's been really great.
All right, so now some more fun questions. What is your favorite movie?
You guys, it's terrible. I don't really have a favorite movie. I am really struggling with that. Let's see, there are some that, if they're on, you'll sit and watch the whole thing, no matter if it's halfway through or towards the end. And for that, for me, is probably Catch Me If You Can.
That's a good one.
I enjoy that one, or Shawshank Redemption. So that's going back a ways. But I don't really have a favorite movie.
How about a musician or band?
I love 80s music. I probably, if I'm firing up the Pandora or asking Alexa to play stuff, I'll choose R.E.M. or Van Morrison, Bob Marley, a little bit of Yaz, New Order, The Cure, U2, a lot of 80s stuff. And my husband and daughter are in our church worship team, and so we listen to a lot of Hillsong United at home, and I always get the treat of hearing them practice, so I enjoy that too. So I don't know if I have a wide range, if it's eclectic or not, but I'm not part of Rush Saturday, I'm sorry to say.
That's okay. You're more than welcome to be.
How about a favorite TV show?
When my kids were little, I had to explain to them that I had to watch my show, and that is Chicago Bears football. I am a crazy fan. I love Chicago Bears football. So I would explain to the kids that this is my show. So I'm not sure if that's what you had in mind, but that is my favorite TV show. I'm a big Chicago sports fan.
I won't tell my husband. We are Vikings fans here, but...
Ooh. I was rooting for you guys.
We just can't get past the big dance.
Maybe next year.
I have to dig real deep, but I got a connection. In the 1990s, so I lived in Chicago in the early 90s when I was in college, and I was really into competitive drum and bugle corps, attending events and such, and there's a group in Rockford, Illinois called the Phantom Regiment, and I went to a concert one time that was in Rockford, Illinois, at the theater there. They did a concert before the season started. And I went with two people. I went with a guy that went to Northwestern that I knew, and his friend. And his friend played for the Bears. I do not know his name. He played like 2 seasons. But what was cool was when he was in college, he played, or in high school rather, he played the trumpet. The concert opened. He was really into drum corps. He really liked watching these marching units. But when they opened, they had a little Dixieland band open the show. And he sat there and was fingering along with the trumpet playing the Saints Go Marching or whatever it was. He knew the arrangement.
Oh, that's wonderful.
It's digging, and I wish I could remember his name. I met him one time, and it just so happened that my friend knew him. My friend marched with a competitive group out of Minnesota, a senior corps, as they call them, the people over the age of 21. He marched senior corps, and this guy was a friend of his, and as we were driving to Rockford from Chicago, he's like, oh, yeah, I play for the Bears. It's a dig, but I got it.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, I'm one of those super fans that I literally do go to training camp every year.
Okay.
And watch. Like, I'm pretty dedicated, even in the low times. So you can rely on that for sure.
If I can find it, I will see if I can figure out his name.
Oh, what a blast. That'd be great.
When you're not watching the Bears, which is right now, I guess, if that movie that you're not, one of those, you don't have a favorite, but if the movie that you like is on, you're not listening to 80s music or Hillsong United, what else do you like to do outside of work?
We talked about the big Chicago sports fan thing. I love to read. I've really enjoyed this HR Book Club helping choose and push that reading goal to make sure I'm reading a few books a month that are challenging. I love to travel. I majored in French in college, so I'm a big Francophile and love pretty much everything about France and the French language and culture. That is, I guess I could count that as one of my favorite shows, is watching French TV on Netflix. But that is, that's one of the things that I like to do outside of work. And then I'm interested in fitness and just health and well-being and trying to have a good, well-balanced lifestyle.
All right. So our final question, Mary, is if you were not in HR, what do you think you'd be doing professionally?
I do feel like I love what I do and I'm doing what I love, and so I can't really imagine doing anything else. But if I had to choose, I have a love for learning, so I would probably teach. Maybe HR or like certification prep, or maybe French. I hadn't thought about it. Maybe. Bien sûr.
I minored in French in college, and it was mostly because I wanted to graduate. And they're like, well, you need a minor. I'm like, well, what am I closest to?
Yes.
Okay,
well, that's
so
how.
When you two get together in Chicago, you cannot stand in front of me and speak French because I won't know what you're saying.
Don't
I
worry.
probably wouldn't know what we're saying either, quite
Okay,
frankly.
fair
It's
enough.
been sort of years since I've had to speak French, so.
Well, Wendy, one of my classmates in France, when I did summer school there, lives in your town.
Really?
So there's another connection, yes.
There we
And
go.
so I wasn't sure how big the area is, but I thought, wow, you never know. I should ask and see if you guys know each other, because that would just be crazy small world connection.
That would. There's about 25,000 people in our town, so we're not very big at all. Obviously, we grow when school's in session, so we're teeny right now because all the students and most of the professors are gone.
Well, Mary, I have to congratulate you. Successfully survived the conversation, the question connection, the bit of audio issue that we had. We're so excited, and again, I appreciate the fact that you've been with us since the beginning.
Yes.
I
Yay.
really appreciate that, and this is your chance
Number
now
one fan.
No.
Yeah, number one fan.
This is your chance now to let folks know how would you like them to get in touch with you out there on the internet.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I just want to say thanks again. This has been a real thrill for me, and I have been your number one fan and a fierce follower, and just really enjoy the HR Social Hour and love what you all are doing in the HR community. So thank you again for inviting me. Best way to reach me is probably Twitter. I'm ConMKW, so ConMKW on Twitter, and then I'm also on LinkedIn. But given that my name is Mary Williams, we'll have to put the little URL note in the notes because, there's a couple of those out there.
I will be happy to put your feed there for sure. Wendy,
it can be nice to be anonymous.
Wendy, how about you?
Best way to reach me is on Twitter, of course. I am Windall93, WYNDALL93. Or you can reach me on my blog, mydailyjourney.com. That's my daily is D as in dog, AILEY. And of course, you can always find me on Twitter on the fourth Sunday of the month at 7 p.m. during the HR Social Hour chat. Forward to seeing as many of you there as can join us. How about you, John?
You can always find me on Twitter. That's John, Jon _Thurmond, THURMOND. Always happy to connect on LinkedIn. And as always, I ask if you'll send me a personalized note. I really do appreciate it. If you have questions or comments about the show or the monthly chat, send us an email. That's hrsocialhourpodcast@gmail.com. You'll find us on Facebook if you search the HR Social Hour. You can find the show at hrsocialhourpodcast.podbean.com. Also on iTunes, the Podbean app, Podchaser, HR Podcasters, Google Play, and TuneIn. And as always, rate and review, please share. So again, Mary, thank you for being with us tonight. And for the HR Social Hour Half Hour Podcast, I'm John.
And I'm Wendy. And as always, be sure to connect,
give back, and network.
Network.
Take care, everyone.
We'll see you next time.